on the fact that majority of people are not coming here because this is a sports school. Just because our basketball team did good at one time, that's nice for them. And I feel like they should find their funding somewhere else, in something else. But I feel like it's trying to make our school something that it's not and is not meant to be. So I don't, and with people who have experienced gym, PE courses, and it may have had a positive influence in their life, I don't think we should get rid of it. But because we have to pay these people, and I just don't like the dynamic of it so much so because it is athletics, and we are an academic college, period. That's really where I'm kind of like the bad taste in my mouth is, because I don't want us to become a college park.
Yeah, no, and that's something they understand. They know it's not high school. It's not more like we want to train the best athletes here. They're also looking at the problem that the majority of people who graduate from college are becoming more and more obese in this generation because physical education is on the down. So it's not moreover like we want to count athletic school, we want to train on athletes, that's why we need this money. First of all, the reason why the money is there is because when it comes to a lot of these decisions, like that's a big influencing factor. Whether we like it or not, universities are businesses. And when it comes to losing sources of funding, it's something that a lot of people get riled up about, especially when it's a lot of discretionary funding that is used for a lot of things. So it's not just staff salaries, but like the discretionary funding, we don't know where that goes, but he's happy he has it, and we're happy that he's happy. Something like the program. Yes.
This is my opinion on that. And this actually is funny because like it's interesting to hear like that perspective, because like my committee, basketball athletics, my committee is like all professors and like department heads and stuff like that. So it's a very interesting, like, two very different worlds coming together for this very interesting topic and discussion. My problem is this: so we as a body, we represent, the undergraduate students of this university. If we, in my opinion, the best way to represent them, while I've heard the argument before that actually in my committee, like, we invest however many thousands of dollars into the student body here, and we don't want them to go off and die because they're unhealthy, was the exact analogy or discussion that was used. I think that it is responsible of us as a body who want to represent the best interests of undergraduates to say that they should still be paying for these programs, even though they're not going to be a separate requirement for graduation. They'd be a gen ed requirement, but even that would mess up major requirements and create a problem where you have to rearrange the amount of major specific classes you take, which I think is problematic because people, like kind of along the lines you were saying, people come to UBC to be leaders in their field of academics, not to be sports stars. And I think that it's important to remember that, while it's good that the provost has money and it's good that we, would maintain these athletic teachers, I think it's important to remember that, like, we want to protect the undergraduate students first, regardless, because that's what we took an oath, that's what we're supposed to uphold. So I think that if we're representing them the best, I'd recommend that they remove it as a general education requirement, period, to kind of alleviate that extra stress on students, while keeping in mind that it is beneficial for students, even if students don't necessarily want to do it, while keeping that as a caveat.
Yeah, no,
so that sort of frame, I'm sure they care. Yeah. I want to believe that they care, but at the end of the day, what you said was true. This is a business. So them trying to frame it as, students, their stress level goes down and they know how to use the equipment and it's been helping them. It's just like, can you imagine you can't graduate because you didn't take your PE classes? They fill up really, really quickly.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I've had that personal experience of, I wanted to take a gym class and it's closed off, so now I have to settle for something else. If that stress was gone, that made graduating a lot easier. Like, I don't want to think about a gym. I'm a poli-sci major. I don't necessarily care for that, so.
You can, yeah, no, so not responding to you directly, but in general to this whole thing, I don't want to become a gen ed personally. Like, so for instance, I'm relaying the information from that committee. So I'm taking what you guys are saying in, but I just want that to be clear that just because I'm saying this from their mouth does not mean that I am like in support of this. I just would like that to be out there.
Just really, only thing I'm saying is just so when you go back to this committee, that you also have, the Senate behind you in when you're speaking. And I want to say in the sense, yes, I know it is a business, but to kind of on the backs of Robbie and Patrick, if this is alleviated from student stress, nobody's saying that this needs to go away. It's just if I have the time, I'm like, man, we got a yoga class. I'm just gonna take a yoga class just to fill up my day. You know what I'm saying? Like it's still an option, but I feel like making it a gen ed requirement is shoving it down people's throats. And that's what is unnecessary, and I think that's where a lot of pushback will come from because it's already stressing people out. People already filling up these classes way more than other classes. They have to drop their major classes because they have to make sure they get this gen ed course out of the way and picking which one is more important than not. And if this is a STEM school and this is an academic-based school, I'm pretty sure they would want us to go to, not them specifically, the athletics committee, but for the overall success of the school, I'd rather people go to their psych class, poli-sci class, whatever, than going to bowling.
Yeah, okay. As we're like continuing on the merits of like keeping it as a class and everything else, I want to be conscious that we're currently 30 minutes, no, we're like a little bit over 30 minutes our agenda, so want to make sure these points that we're bringing up are good. Yeah, maybe anything else?
I still have more for athletics on a different side. But just to finish out, so yeah, they would grant people who are to PE, they'd be grandfathered in, it'd be a one-time educational, it'd be under like the education section, so it'd be depending on how many classes you took, both of them, then it'd be a free academic credit under an educational banner. And that would be available for that one time, then the class would be removed from like the list, so you couldn't like sign up for it, but that would just be where the credits would be transferred over to. And then, so the second part from there is
I'll keep bringing on Robbie and then Rogers.
I just wanted to point out another thing. It's something that you can pass and fail. So if it was a situation where you miss more than you have more than 3 unexcused absences, and then it shows up as a fail on your transcript, I don't know how big of a deal that is, but that would really suck to happen. Oh, you failed a PE class.
Yeah, also important to know that if this does get changed to a gen ed, it won't, I'm not going to say won't as like there, but like as students currently are concerned that they don't really know a lot of the information that we're dealing with now, if it were changed to a gen ed, the impact on students wouldn't be like big, but it wouldn't change is what I'm saying. It's still an institutional requirement as of now, so if they made it a gen ed requirement, for students, they'd still be signing up to classes as they currently are and have been. So I think it's important to note that we're not adding additional when it becomes a gen ed, we're just keeping the requirements as is under a different name.
This is just my opinion, like based on what everybody said. And I understand that there's like pushback because we want to focus on what our major classes are. But for some people, this might be the only way that they like actually get out to do something. And I know that health is a very important factor like, in our lives. And like I don't know, you said that they made the point like if our students like graduate and just go and let them die, which is like really extreme. But I feel like school is important, but also our health should be a big thing about that. I feel like people are so caught up in the fact this is just a credit that you have to graduate, and not that this is good for our health. And this might be the only way that some students actually get out to go do something.
Jared?
So my question is kind of why are we keeping this under wraps? Like, I think that this is a really big topic, and if they decide to keep it as a general education requirement, personally, I'm gonna be kind of pissed. Because I think, like, as a whole, the whole reason it sounds like that we have the gym class is not necessarily for the students, but to get more money from the students so they can basically pay off faculty and athletic programs. So I think that we should get the student body to know about this so that in the instance that they do decide to keep it, they should have some accountability, because I don't think that this is a program that actually benefits students. So again, why are we keeping this under wraps?
If I can speak on that real quick, just because I've been extended several times, and then we're gonna move on, I guess. But because what happens is if trust me, I've already done this. Is because if all of a sudden we start saying don't register for gym classes and you still need it, we're gonna screw over a lot of people who are gonna be very pissed at us all of a sudden, instead of being pissed at the administration for trying to keep us right out. If we say don't register for gym classes and it's still a graduation requirement, people don't graduate because of us, that's a bigger deal than if we were to say, like, go register and then they can still withdraw and get that money back, stuff like that. That's the only reason I put the under wraps still, because I would very much like to go and be like, look, like, this is what's gonna happen, like, watch out for this. But like, as soon as I think that if they try to make a general education requirement, we fight it then as loudly as possible. But until that moment hits, and I hope they. That being said, I'm not even on camera.
Can we move on?
Yeah, to be honest, I hear all your points, but it's out of my hands, and a lot of this is I get the discussion, but like I'm just relaying what the academics is saying or athletics is saying on this side. When the vote comes, we can talk more about it later. To further my updates, because unfortunately I still have 3 more to go. The rack update. So the rack did flood, if you all remember, but most of the facility is back up and running. The rack courts are functional. The area floor the arena floor was removed. That took about 14 days over schedule for them to actually remove that floor. But hopefully they said by Wednesday, which at this point was last Wednesday, that the floor should have been cleared out, so the tracks upstairs should now be usable again. They were offline while the floor was being moved due to the dust. It was a health and safety thing where with the equipment and stuff, it just wasn't really safe to work there. However, they're looking at this as an opportunity to get a new floor in that area, either like a synthetic floor, so when it does flood again, it wouldn't warp this time.
What?
Yeah, because there's been a lot of floods that have happened there. So they're looking at other schools' ideas. They're scheduling trips to other universities to kind of take a look at their gym floors and see what we can do with ours to ensure that it's better. Since this was not part of the rack renewal program, this just gives them another opportunity to continue to upgrade the rack without having to dip into those additional funds. So the rack should hopefully be fully reopened or the weight room, the second weight room, should be open by essentially either today or by next Wednesday. For the renewal, the rack renewal is on that temporary hold while the university is looking at other stakeholders, but they are still looking for information from us about the concern with UHS moving in there or not. But since the rack renewal is now permanently on hold until stuff is figured out, that'll be something we would deal with at a later time. Finally, the American East Conference is looking to unite schools more than just athletics-wise. So the division that we're in, we have Stony Brook and Vermont and other schools that are in the division for our basketball teams. But they're looking at linking the undergrads kind of through more than just that, shared research opportunities and stuff. So having students go from one campus to another within that area to do research and talk to other students at our university, and we'd send students to go talk to students at Stony Brook University and kind of do shared research through that.
Where? Stony Brook's in New York. That's the Big Ten's academic alliance, because I think that's what they're trying to emulate.
Yeah, that's what they're looking for.
We're basically a Big Ten now.
Yeah, they're hoping to kind of do more. They call it a cross-fertilization with the rest of the schools in the American East Conference. That way, we can be slightly more connected. That's all I have for athletics. Moving on to dining. There is new catering on campus. Chartwell's has always had a catering program, but recently they've stepped it up big time. Actually, I kind of wish Brenda was still here because she was in the office when I brought in the food. You were there too, so Jordan can attest to this. The new catering actually tastes good. Dead, not gonna lie. Jordan can attest to that. He had the pizza. They had edamame pot stickers and bacon, cheddar jalapeno quesadillas. How did they taste?
They were really good. Really good. The pizza was actually really good. I was surprised. It was weird. It's different than D-Hall. Yeah, it tastes much better.
So it's cooked at tomato, but it's slightly different, and it's kind of roasting that stuff there. These pizzas, they have cheese, veggies, supreme, pepperoni, but they also have halal options as well to be more inclusive with that program. So this is the catering for the campus through the Dine on Campus website. Do you mind if I pull that up real quick just to show you? Sure. So for the Dine on Campus website is where you access the new catering stuff. It's a really cool program. Every UMBC student can use it, by the way. So you don't have to be registered through a club or something. If you just want to have 3 pizzas and a couple of friends over on a Friday night, just place the order 72 hours in advance, and they will do it.
72?
Because they have the thing.
I'm not surprised over Friday night this weekend. That's where I do this.
It's for catering.
Yeah, so this is catering, but
Yeah, it's catering. Do you have to reserve a room for it, or is it
no. Basically, if you Robertson, room 348. They'll do that.
They'll do that?
I believe so.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
So,
I'm just kidding.
Do they have cakes?
yes.
Oh!
Birthday cakes.
We don't Oreo some.
Yes, you can use
Oh,
a half sheet
they
or a
do?
full sheet.
Oh wait, what?
See, I know exactly
And they
what
can-
you want here.
I wonder if they're good.
So bear in mind that sheet cakes are expensive because they're big, but also delivered through there. So.
27 per event. That's the first one. It's
No,
like,
okay, I know.
Bear in mind that a sheet cake, like a full sheet cake, would be like 100.
It's like this.
They're huge.
Oh, this is okay.
Yeah, so sheets are pretty big. So anyway, you can order stuff for this. It'll be linked to a card, so you put in like your card information, but the payment would not be on that day. So you don't have to like pay to get it. They just charge your account afterwards. So you could be like, I want to have 3 pizzas this weekend for this party that I'm hosting. You put the order in, and then they charge your card like afterwards, but you wouldn't have to like have the money with you when they're going to bring delivery. So that is a big plus there too. And again, it's available for any student on campus. So there's 11 options through there. There's the pizza stuff. It's slightly more expensive than Papa John's, I believe.
work for Walker.
Yes, it works for.
What about like off campus, like?
Don't know about off campus right now because it is secured through the campus. But I would.
Just to like deliver some confidence.
But anyway, so they have a bunch of stuff here. I encourage you guys in your off time to go look at it. I met the chef who was working on those, and he is really dedicated to trying to do more with the resources that he has available to him. So, which is why DCOM may not do that, but when they have that stuff that comes, that's what they're working for. Here is the big dining committee update that concerns tonight. If you live on campus and you like late night. So, in order to be more environmentally friendly and sustainable, they're launching a new program. I'm pretty sure if you've been in D Hall by the dish tray return area, you've seen that giant, huge machine that has like some eco signs on it. It's big, it's nice, it's there, essentially, if you all have seen it. That is a new renewable recycling container system program. So basically what you do is you get a container that you could get your late night in. You take that container, you take it back to your dorm, you get your food or whatever, and then when you come in the next day, you turn the container into that machine and you get like a little token. And then when you go to late night the next night, you could put the token, like give them the token and then get another container back. So this would basically be a way to alleviate the fact that the majority of trash cans in and around D Hall and in and around dorms are just filled to the brim with late night containers, the paper ones, yes.
Are those biodegradable or something? Or
They will be washed. Yeah, washed and repurposed.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So, like, what happens if you lose the token?
I'll explain that in a quick second.
Okay.
Okay, so basically you go to late night, buy your meal, then take it back to your room. You get a token for buying something?
So the token is in place of the container. So once you return the container, you get a token in place of that, and then you give them the token again, and then get a container back. So you either have the container or the token, but that's just a way to make sure that if you have one in there. So the big thing is that, so if you lose your container, it'll cost $5 to replace it, but you can use Flex for that. You can use food funds, $100, that kind of stuff. The big thing is go to late night tonight, because today is the first day that they're rolling it out. So if you go, you will get one for free.
Oh!
So go tonight, pick up the free container. Don't lose it, because then you'll have to pay for another one. But the free is only available tonight. So also after this, you can text your friends, let them know. But it's until supplies run out. So they have a decent amount. They have a large amount of containers. They know what the average people who come in for late night is. So make sure you go there so you can get your free container. And then if you lose it, it's $5. If you don't get it tonight, but you want it later, it'll cost $5. But that can come out of anywhere on food. Yes.
So, let's say you don't have a container. Is there no other way to get late night?
No, they'll still have the other options for the paper stuff, but this is just a hope to kind of alleviate the amount of waste that we get from all of that, which is a lot. So this would be a bit more environmentally friendly.
Do they advertise this?
They should have.
I saw a little tweet about it today. That's how I knew about it.
Yeah, so this was given to the student dining committee, and they're supposed to also spread that word, and this is my first meeting since that one met. So if you had a question.
This would be fast. Seriously.
A statement like their microwave will save, so like you could just keep it in your dorm, like use it as well. So.
Yes, that is true.
Okay. Is this only for D-Hall or like, I mean for late night? Is this like just only late night?
Currently, this is only for late night. What they're hoping to do is be able to roll it out. This is kind of like their test bed to find out if it works in this limited period. Theoretically, in the next couple of years, if it works out well, they're planning on launching this out for places in Commons. You could have your polio in there. You could have your whatever in there. So.
If you could, at some point, bring this up to them. I was talking about this the other day. There's like carry out for D hall. I don't know how you sit in D hall, and I don't want to grab like a styrofoam container for D hall because it's waste. But like, if there was a way to like use that to carry out like get like a swipe in D hall, grab as much food as you possibly can, put it into a container, and walk out, because then I can eat on the go. I think that might be like a good way to get people in. Stop their audio.
They're not going to say yes to that because the idea of D hall is like an all you can eat, but you have to eat there. So you're not actually allowed to take anything out of there.
But don't stop.
Yeah. To be, I mean, so anyway, yeah, you can.
Late night happens in the hall,
Yes. Yeah.
and it's all you can eat.
No.
it's not.
So
Normal
breakfast, lunch, and dinner are in D hall. That's all you can. Late night is you pay for your meal.
That's an a la carte.
So, I know. If you'd like to get around that, I can talk about that once the live stream's not running. All right. Anyway, so the next thing on the list is their Boost system. So the mobile ordering, pay, where you go, that kind of stuff. Currently, until Halloween, which is in 2 days.
Wow.
They're having what's called a Beats and Treats promotion. Basically, if you sign on the app, every time you use place an order, you get an additional point for it. But also, just being on the app gets you 1 point. Basically, the more you have, the higher chance you have to win. They're giving away 2 Beats headphones and 10 Spotify gift cards.
Wait. Okay. No one. I just not heard of this at all.
The biggest problem with this app is it does not include UMBC's meal plan.
It does not. No.
It does not include it. So how are you gonna have a system to win at something when at the least the meal plan is not on it? So you're expecting people to have real money?
I have there's a whole thing with that I will get to in a quick second.
Okay.
That was part of the topic discussion.
The whole point of Boost is for commuters who doesn't have a meal plan.
Well,
for both, but it's primarily
not true. And again, I will get to that.
Yeah, you can.
All right, sorry. Let me finish through all the updates, and then if you guys have questions afterwards, I'll let you know when I'm done with this section. So they are working on trying to incorporate just right now Flex, Retriever Dollars, and Food Funds. The main issue is that Boost is a third-party company. So there's a lot of contracts that have to be signed and a lot of agreements that have to go in for even Retriever Dollars to be used through the Boost app because it has to go through so many different things. The meal equivalency probably won't be worked out until a lot later, simply because, again, you have to work through, it has to be able to get in access to your campus card information and be able to deduct the meal from your campus card specifically. So that's the reason why we have the swipes. You can't just do the mobile ordering through there. And that's why it's currently only on card, because there's so many legal loopholes that they have to go through and so many agreements that have to be worked out for how much the meal equivalence is going to go for and that kind of stuff when it comes to other things. So it's something that everyone there definitely wants to do because they do like to cater to the residential students. But feasibly, it would take 4 or 5 years to try and get that rolled out from what they were talking about. But for Food Funds, Retriever Dollars, and Flex, that one might be able to come sooner. So you wouldn't be able to get Flex, but as far as being on the meal plan using a meal swipe, it's a whole different story, unfortunately. Especially because Flex plans make that a lot more convenient. So currently it only works at late night. Starbucks, Mondo's, and Wild Greens, they are hoping to expand out to the Einsteins over in the library. That's going to take a little bit longer. So a big issue that people have was that Boost was lacking a lot of the customization options. So they are going to try and work with the company to try and increase that when it comes to drinks available for Starbucks, that kind of stuff. But again, it's third-party negotiations that can drag on. And while we are a big customer of theirs and a big supporter for their program, since we're using it, it still takes a while for stuff to get done simply because we're working through and saying, hey, this is what we want. And say, all right, now we have to figure out how to do it. So that's taking a while to happen. Any questions about Boost? All right. And next is the International Station and Teacher Kitchen. So after Thanksgiving break, Masala and Aban Pan will be walled off and gone. Aban Pan. Aban Pan. Masala and Aban Pan will be not available after Thanksgiving break. It'll be walled off. It'll be gone. Worth noting, Masala is coming back. But that will be back up and running in January. So Masala's going to be offline for about Thanksgiving to spring semester. Aban Pan is done. It's not coming back. So what's going to happen is after Thanksgiving break, they're going to start construction there for the new Masala, masala, a halal shack, and an international station. The international station is a rotating concept for different foods, so students will have a choice and input. There'll be a thing that goes around, basically trying different foods from different countries, different places, will be available there upon like the requests. So it'll be like a month for this and a month for that. They're working with student groups on campus as well to make sure that different cultural foods, when implemented there, are appropriate and proper, unlike some of the other attempts they've had at cultural foods that were severely lacking. We're being nice there. So that'll be down for about 6 weeks. As far as coffee goes, it will only be Starbucks and Einstein for pretty much the rest of the year. That's how long that is gone. Sorry. Yum shop. Oh, well, you see.
Yum shop.
Another story.
Oh wait, that's right. That's
Yeah. So.
That's going away.
Yeah. Sorry. So what they're going to work on doing is that getting the machines that were used to make coffee. One second. Using machines that were going to make coffee, trying to get that installed somewhere near the outtakes there. That way they can still serve coffee there in the interim until the dunking comes online. Question.
And then the Treadwells do it RSA said the first international station will be Beacon Pub.
Yes. So they are catering to my kind.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Next is the teaching kitchen section.
The international station.
We'll find out if it's good or not. I'll get to that. Anyway, any questions about that for the section of comments? Yes. Yes. All right. Don't worry, I will come back to it in a quick second. Next is the teaching kitchen at D Hall. So the area right now where the omelets are made and that kind of stuff in the breakfast area, they're going to turn that into a teaching kitchen where Chef Tim and the other chefs there can essentially teach students how to cook certain meals and dishes. So it'll be like a day where they'll teach you how to cook this or cook that, and the students come in and like wash and learn and practice cooking. So that'll be happening in the breakfast area. So that area is going to be gone for a little bit. Omelets will still be serving, but they'll be in the main kitchen line, and eventually they're going to look to relocate that entire section after it's transformed. So they're going to start doing that, I believe, during around winter break. So there's still time for that to be there. We're looking at, they're taking a trip to Morgan State University to take a look because they just got a brand new dining hall. So we're going to emulate some of the stuff happening there. Einstein's currently is looking at getting printers. That way they can order numbers and not names to help speed the process up, because it is a rather slow there as of current, but that's just kind of with the design. They use the maximum that space that they were allowed to use and then a little bit more, and then had to negotiate with the fire marshal and stuff because they have to have all the equipment back there. The next is the voice division survey. So they have a survey that they're going to be putting out soon. I think actually it's already out. If you want to take a look for that. Yeah, it is out. Basically, the survey is going to be information on, dining. It'll be catered to like if you live in Walker versus what year you are versus if you're a resident. But basically, like just questions about dining on campus and that kind of stuff. If you take the survey, you get a chance to win a free Kindle. They have a code texted, so text QZIY to 99299, and I'll put that in Slack chat. There's no masking rate to that, by the way, so don't worry about that. The survey will be active for the next 2 days. Unfortunately, we're going to get you guys sooner. Sorry about that. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes to complete. The Thanksgiving dining hours will be online soon. I believe it's on the Down on Campus website along with November events. They have a lot of cool stuff happening. They have an international week coming up in the middle of November. They have like a mac and cheese DIY bar and a bunch of other stuff. A roll your own sushi bar will be happening the 3rd Friday of November. And then at the end of November, that last week is when they have the fancy food at D Hall, where you pay a little bit of extra flex and you can get stuff like crab and seafood and steak. This, it's on the calendar. I want to say it's the last Wednesday and Thursday after Thanksgiving. So it'll be additional $6 on your flex, but damn, that steak is actually good. They take time to cook it proper. So apparently, if you flex on them, you get good food.
They season the food for $6 extra.
And then also on the day before, I think it's either Tuesday or Wednesday before we leave for Thanksgiving break. It's one of those 2 days is when they'll have the Thanksgiving at D Hall. No. It's the week before Thanksgiving. So the Thursday or Friday before Thanksgiving, they have like their Thanksgiving at D Hall, where they have like a bunch of Thanksgiving type foods for people to enjoy. That way you can eat together with your friends before you all leave for your own corners during Thanksgiving break. Finally, new places. So when it comes to fall semester 2019, big stuff happening. Dunkin' will be open by fall semester 2019. Mondo's will be removed by the end of spring semester. And by fall semester 2019, there will be a burger joint opening up there
Wait, where?
at Mondo's.
You said fall semester 2019.
Fall semester 2019. And ladies and gentlemen, the big news you've all been waiting for. Chick-fil-A will be shifting away from the Chick-fil-A Express model and becoming a full-service Chick-fil-A, which means milkshakes will be available starting fall 2019 if they stay on schedule. Yes.
Is this still in that small place though?
Yes.
They're gonna, yeah, we've heard about this art, so they're gonna blow it out a little more. They're like on to the front row one.
Like 4 cameras there. Good.
Yeah, the 4 count is swipe it through. But yeah, so this will be fully extended. Milkshakes will be there. It's a full service Chick-fil-A, not just one restaurant.
With the rewards and everything?
That I'm not 100% sure about because, I don't know if you can order through the app, but I think you can still get rewards from doing purchases there. The issue is that getting rewards with the Hickory Meal Swipe, I believe is the issue they have there. Yes.
When is this expected?
All fall 2019. So fall by next semester if they stay on track on schedule, which they say that they will be. So by then things will be kind of alleviated.
Great.
Yeah, burgers, football, food.
Yes.
Things to review. So Nuggets coming in fall 2019, burgers are coming in fall 2019, Chick-fil-A is updating fall 2019, Mondo's is closing spring 2019.
Spring 2018.
So this 2019.
2019. Yeah, so next spring.
And when is Duncan?
Next fall.
Next spring.
So that's the main stuff. Next is Okamoka Management Committee. I'm really sorry, guys. So they're working on their initial and long-term business structure, working with transit to kind of get the facility piece moved. Staff hires are going through Joe, who you guys all met at the last meeting. So the main issue that they are going through right now is that they need more money. Yeah, big surprise. They need, so the things they were talking about how they said they need around an estimated like $100,000 until they can start sustaining profit after 18 months, which is when they'll cross that threshold. They hope to work with the Greater Arbutus Business Association. Yeah, they're currently working at their staff structure hires. They're looking for 1 general manager, 2 shift managers, and barista positions. Preference would be given, I think, for baristas for students. So they're trying to help encourage that kind of connection there, but it's not as strong from what I've heard. But they're trying to get their general manager right now. They're working, so the construction budget is pretty high, but they're working on hopefully lowering it by a slight bit. They have their permits to start building there too. We'll be helping them out with painting and stuff. However, the question that I have for you guys is they want us to look at whether we're going to continue giving them money or not. Is the big question. We gave $75,000 initially. We have not seen a return on those profits, or how much we've given them, and they are still looking to they're looking at other sources too to partner with, but they want to know if we plan on giving more or not.
I think this is that's a bigger conversation that I think we should have at another meeting that's planned.
Yeah.
Because that's going into the budget stuff.
Yeah, that's a huge decision to make.
Yeah. So
8:45 on HCA.
sorry about that.
No, I just
So yeah, no, that's something that we were talking about. I think Colin was an adamant no that he did not want to, but I kind of wanted to get the Senate body as well, so you get that. So it's not a session I have to have right now. My next meeting isn't until the end of November, so it can be brought up later. But that's a whole thing. I have my own opinions on that, but that's there.
Yeah.
And I think I can wrap up for Okamoka there, and then finally RSA Town Hall. Hopefully some of you guys went to that as well. But so the police recommend completing exchanges in their police department. Of course they say that.
Safe trade zone?
Yeah, safe trade zone.
Oh, that.
Yeah. So rack development won't completely halt, but it is currently on pause for a while. They're looking at creating an automated guest sign-in process, as opposed to the current sign process where it's the physical writing the names down stuff. So hopefully that'll make it quicker. Talked about lighting in the basketball courts and turning off at 10. Might be related to robberies, but they explain the reason why the lights shut off at that point is because they want to encourage that students aren't playing and being loud in those courts during quiet hours.
Wait, how do you know this stuff? You're not there.
What do you think?
He's friends with
You weren't in that room.
How do you know that?
Because I was in that room.
You didn't see me?
Yeah,
it should be high.
There were a lot of complaints about Fix-It, laundry issue, but that's more for residential students, so I won't get too much into the details right now. But they are looking to expanding into a lot more of the weekend programs to do that stuff. So I think there was a talk looking at making sure that.
I can't hear him, I'm sorry.
I think they were looking at kind of expanding the lights on during the weekend since quiet hours do go later. So the basketball court lights would be on site later during the weekend hours. Also to kind of help encourage safety. And then an email should have gone out to you guys recently about the updated lighting and the things that were changed around there. So the systems that do work now. So that should have been an email that got sent out to you guys. And that's all I have for the town hall. And my SGC updates are fine today.
Anyone else have SGCs? I do. Is anyone else? Cool. So, I went to University Steering Committee in Release Stead last Friday, 2 Fridays ago. And a lot of it was talking about the lawsuit. So they were talking about the amended complaint, including the 3 plaintiffs, and developing into a class action suit. The amended complaint is 100 pages long. They talked about Voices Against Violence, in which the coordinator testified. For the initial suit, blah, 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 blah. One thing that's interesting is UMBC is required to use preponderance of evidence in these cases, which means 50% plus, as opposed to clear and convincing, which is 70% plus, and then beyond reasonable doubt, which is essentially like 100%. So that's how UMBC currently deals with sexual misconduct, is with preponderance of evidence. They're interested in looking into the current sexual education, or they're going to talk more about the mandated training in December 10th, but it is going to be for every student and like UMBC employee, starting with student leaders. They're looking for an outside consultant, a third party person to kind of like review the changes they're making sure it's good. Suggestion was made to block registration for schools. So like if you don't do this training, you won't be able to register for classes, kind of thing. And that they're really, they're interested in rolling out the training sooner rather than later. So starting with faculty and staff. Leadership training will be for all responsible employees, including RAs, and anyone like who's like kind of being paid. The reason why there was a silence is because they were focusing on listening rather than speaking, which is why we hadn't heard from you for so long. But that was still a bother. Running in the raft is on pause as it is. So we're looking to see how more students are using UHS and counseling services. So SGA was asked to do some sort of survey, somehow test the waters on how other students are using the UHS and counseling services. I think we heard from a lot of loud voices, but we want to make sure it's diverse. And it's good for the population. Long-term care is not on campus. The counseling service only offers short-term care, so it's like around 5 weeks or so before they start saying that you need to go to other places. Their rationale for that is the campus service is to catch anything at its earlier stages where it's most mutable, and that if they do require more than 5 weeks, then they need more specialized care that UMBC can't afford them, or they can't provide for them because they only have like kind of like general care. You don't go to a generalist physician for cancer is the example they used. So they want us to collect information about UHS services and counseling from undergraduate students. They included a social worker on hand, so off-campus, people using off-campus services for like mental health and emotion stuff increased from 20% to 80% since they included it. So that's on the app. There's a Maryland charity campaign going on. They're looking, so we did the campus climate survey, so they're looking for patterns on that. We talked about the Human Relations Committee and how that's an issue. If you want to know more about that, let me know. GSA had changes made. They got more money than they expected, but that's not important. Did we already talk about transit tracker being crap? No, that was here.
That was here.
There we go. That's it. So the important thing mostly is the survey. And someone that might talk to Katrina about that. That's a Katrina thing. That's all I have there. So we had planned to work on Senate initiatives.
I feel like if I'm to speak, I think we're doing a good job working on those outside of this. I can't speak at least for my organization. I know we're or my initiative group. I think we're doing a good job outside. I assume there's something outside of this. So
Actually, I'd like to just get a quick update from both sides, to be honest. Just like progress checks, if that's okay with you guys, because I don't really know what's going on with the communication side. I don't really know if that's even continuing. If you guys have yet to make a new initiative. Are there updates from the communication side?
The communication initiative is going on. Entirely.
Cool. Just that on the public safety side, we're continuing conversation with GSA, and they're going to start writing their legislation also. After
you guys have a new initiative idea. Right now, I'm just curious.
That's something we probably made some time for next week. That's where we all decide what another valuable initiative would be.
That was what this time was supposed to be for.
5 minutes?
Huh?
5 minutes? I mean, do you think we could do it in 5 minutes?
I don't know. We'll talk about that next week.
Okay.
I'll table it. Is anyone gets moving towards announcements? Any other announcements?
Are we doing announcements?
Yeah.
Have announcements.
Sure.
If you received an email from me about submitting your housing assignment and you haven't done that, please do that. To them on campus.
Yeah.
Did you get an email that said please fill out this UMC housing assignment thing? Tell me where you live. It's not a feeling. It actually happened. Please fill it out.
No. This go out. I did.
Today?
No,
Yes,
a couple days ago.
If you're a commuter.
I'm trying.
Commuter.
It's in your inbox.
Wait, what? What if I'm not going to?
I'll give you some context and it'll come out in an email. So we are trying to plan, trying to plan something for right before school starts, sort of a winter retreat.
Oh.
But I want to make sure everybody who lives on campus, like, I need to know where they live to make sure that they can be where they need to be. If they don't live in 9-month housing, then I got to figure something else out for you. For commuter students, when I send out the email saying outlining sort of the draft of what we would like to do, there is some language in there for commuter students that says, if you need housing accommodations, we can work that out. And in addition to students who do not live in 9-month housing, but I need to know how many people that is. So that's why I asked for where you lived on campus.
What's the proposal to the student government summit?
Who sent something to you? Did I send that to you?
Yeah.
SGA Senate.
When, was it? Oh, because I want you to go to this thing.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
I mean, I haven't.
I gave context for it in the email, right?
Yeah.
For why I'm asking for your housing assignment.
Wait, is that
There's
emails?
There's two, there's a strike.
Did I
got
send
3.
2 emails?
I got one from
I got
So what I'm hearing is that
You first said you got 0, so how did I go from 0 to 3?
So what I'm hearing is we need to go to our inboxes and search Candace's name and see if we have any emails from her and read them.
Yes, you do.
I don't send y'all emails very often.
Yeah.
You don't, but when you do, they're important.
Sweet. So we'll read them after the meeting.
Yes, sir. Please do that.
Are there any other announcements?
I passed my Korean exam. 19 over 20 for the first time ever in this series.
I failed mine.
We're here for you.
I appreciate that.
think something that it went out in the email as far as the university stance on it, but the issue with the whole like changing the genders for like away from the transgender, like how that won't really be reflected under Title IX in the current proposals for the current country's administration.
Oh, I was like, yo, what the fuck?
And I think it'd be important to consider that our Senate should make some kind of statement also in support of kind of making sure that students on campus know that if the country's direction changes, that we were still dedicated to supporting the LGBTQIA+ community, and that we will work to do everything in our power to ensure that even if the federal government doesn't want to see them as they are, that we do. And I think it'd be something important to kind of keep abreast of and like pay attention to, but also just to keep note that should those things change on the federal level, I think we should be ready with a resolution right away in support of our students, because it's definitely trying time for that.
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah,
we should not email everybody.
Yeah, I can send out an email to this.
If you want to start drafting legislation,
Get the Senate, but I just want that to be something in the as an announcement, just so everyone knows, like kind of keep an eye on that kind of stuff that's been going on, because that's one of the few things from that directly affects us as students. Yeah, it'd be a resolution.
Yeah, sorry, not legislation.
Yeah, no, I said
draft resolution. Any other announcements?
Yeah. Are the buses still going on for voting?
Yes.
So
So
it doesn't.
Brenda sent out an email asking anyone available in the next 3 days to send people from the CIC to the bus places, because there's miscommunication on their end about where people should meet. So they're still happening.
For clarification, early voting buses go to every county that touches Baltimore County and Montgomery. And there's 3 left.
Good job.
So if your county does not touch Baltimore County or is not the lovely and fabulous wealthy Montgomery County, you don't have a voting bus.
Yeah, and if it's already gone, it's not coming back.
That's fair.
My announcement is that Dr. Grabowski recognized our Senate resolution.
It's the year thing that happened.
That's it. Anyone else with an
Call it.
Or I will adjourn the meeting at 9:05. Ongoing, do you know how to turn off the stream?
I can.
Cool.
You should show them where to
Absolutely. Yes.
Let's all watch.